Hey guys, Nishquick here. So, ever since I can remember, most of the Zelda community have wanted 2 Legend of Zelda games to be released on the Nintendo Switch. And those are, of course, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, specifically their HD versions from the Wii U to be brought over to the Nintendo Switch. But I am a little different. I personally do not care if we get Twilight Princess or Wind Waker. I did not care for the longest time. Ever since Zelda's 35th anniversary, ever since all of that stuff, I didn't really care about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker coming over to the Switch. Because, you know why? Well, based on the title and the thumbnail, you might be able to guess why, but yeah, I think that there is another Wii U game that deserves to be on Switch a million times more than Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. This is a very hot take, but I really need to get it off my chest. Xenoblade Chronicles X needs to be a remaster, re-release, Switch port priority. Listen to that, Nintendo. It needs to be a priority. I'm going to tell you guys why in this video. If you guys enjoy Nintendo content, if you guys enjoy RPGs, this is the place for you. Hit the like button and subscribe to help out a small content creator like yours truly, Nishquick Pops. Without further ado, let's talk about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker versus Xenoblade Chronicles X. So here's a little bit of a history lesson with all these games. So let's start off with Wind Waker, specifically the oldest of those 2 games. Wind Waker was very controversial. Well, here's the thing. During this whole Zelda Wind Waker controversy, I was a mere child. I was a baby. I was a toddler, right? So I didn't understand any of it. Ever since Space World 2000, I think it was around Space World 2000, is when Nintendo showed off the GameCube and its powerful graphics, and they showed off like an Ocarina of Time kind of like realistic Zelda approach with this new hardware of the GameCube. And color everyone shocked when they immediately see Wind Waker, which is the complete opposite of what they first wanted. And, well, of course, Wind Waker has aged very well. Wind Waker has aged very, very well. It's a beloved fantasy title, beloved GameCube title now, compared to what it was like maybe before the game even came out. And Twilight Princess was, I wouldn't say the opposite, but when Twilight Princess was announced, it has gone down in history to be one of the greatest, most impactful, most moving E3 moments of all time. The crowd erupts in cheers and excitement, and it was, as many people have said who were there at that moment, it was the day that grown men cried. I remember a lot of people were saying that. Again, I was like, I don't know, I was like 4 or 5 years old, so I was crying about other things not related to The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. But my point is, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are 2 very different kinds of games, visually, stylistically, but here's the thing. Here is the commonalities with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. They are traditional Zelda games. They have the dungeons, they have the dungeon items, they have the linear approach, they have no open world. It is the opposite of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And here's one thing. Wind Waker was on the GameCube, but it was also on the Wii U. Twilight Princess was on the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U. So 3 different systems. So why am I saying all of this? I wanted to give you guys a history of the impact of these games. I also wanted to kind of give you an idea of where these games sit within the Zelda franchise, and also I wanted to give you a reminder of how many systems these games are on. So another reminder I wanted to give you guys is the sales for these games. These aren't exact numbers, but they are in the ballpark. This is coming from VG charts, so take that for what you will. Wind Waker on the GameCube was 4.4 million. Pretty good. 4.4 million is nothing to scoff at. Wind Waker on the Wii U was 2.3 million. And to those who may not remember, newer Nintendo fans and all that, the Wii U was a failure. It was an absolute failure. It was a system. It did not succeed. It did not sell well at all. The console did not sell well. The software did not sell as much as it should have compared to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch outsold Wii U in its first year. It was insane how much the Wii U unfortunately flopped. So yeah, that's an idea of how much Wind Waker sold on those two systems, and if you want to total it up, it's about 6.7 million, give or take. Twilight Princess, on the other hand, on the GameCube and the Wii combined sold 8.7 million, one of the highest selling Zelda games before Breath of the Wild just blew everything out of the water. On the Wii U, it sold 1.1 million, another kind of, I wouldn't say failure, but it was not as much as it could have been. So a total is 9.8 million. If you even notice, Twilight Princess HD did not sell as well as even Wind Waker HD. So that is some perspective, and this is just the flat numbers. The people who bought the game and picked it up and have their copy of the game, either digital or physical. This is not adjusting for macroeconomics or inflation or anything like that. This is just the raw numbers that have been recorded. Just an idea of how many people have this game, its popularity, its sales, its potential, all that, right? That's enough talking about Zelda for now. I want to now talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles X was only released on the Wii U. It was announced in 2013 and later released in 2015. And this game was very mysterious. I remember seeing it at E3 once, and it was just called X. Monolith Soft's X. And I was like, wait, I don't know what this is. I just knew that it had mechs and it looked cool, and I remember that not many people were talking about it. I just remember not many people knowing about this game or talking about this game as much because it wasn't as popular. So here's a little history about what Xenoblade Chronicles X is. It's the second Xenoblade game, even before Xenoblade Chronicles 2, though it is a spin-off. It is not connected to the main Xenoblade Chronicles trilogy, but it built off of the open areas and the open world concepts of Xenoblade 1, and unlike Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, it is less story-focused. Even though it has a story, the story is less of the focus, but the gameplay is a heavy focus. It feels like an actual MMORPG. Here is the big thing. Xenoblade Chronicles X, in my opinion, people can disagree with this, but in my opinion, Xenoblade Chronicles X is the first modern open-world game that Nintendo has ever made. Yeah, you can say, oh, The Legend of Zelda, the first NES Legend of Zelda was the first open-world game Nintendo made, and frankly, the first open-world game ever made. That's why I specified the first modern open-world game that Nintendo has ever made. Something like The Witcher, something like Red Dead Redemption, or Skyrim, something like that. Xenoblade Chronicles X has an open world that is seamless, and there are no loading zones between the areas. You can take your skill, start at New LA, and fly all the way to Noctilum, all the way to Silvalum, all the way to Cauldros if you wanted to. And maybe even at the start of the game, if you're good enough, you can start off all the way in New LA, run all the way out of Primordia, and swim all the way to Silvalum if you wanted to. If you can avoid the enemies. That's a very big if. But yes, it is actually the only Xenoblade game to have a boundless open world with no loading zones and just no limits to where you can go on that map. And of course, it has crazy verticality. You can fly, you can ride your Skell, you can swim, you can jump really high, there's no fall damage, and what I am getting at is a lot of the concepts from Xenoblade Chronicles X that Monolith Soft designed with the open world, with the traversal. It was later implemented and later used as inspiration and fuel to create the worlds of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And that is not explicitly said, but as someone who has played these games, all three of these games, and has talked to other friends and other fans who have played these other games, yeah, you can tell the inspiration that went into these games. How much did Xenoblade Chronicles X sell on the Wii U? Reminder, it was only on the Wii U, a failing system. How much did Xenoblade Chronicles X sell? It sold just around or about 840,000 copies sold. So yeah, they didn't even cross 1 million. Xenoblade Chronicles X, the first modern open world Nintendo game, in my opinion, you guys can disagree with me on that, in my opinion, the first modern open world video game that Nintendo has ever made that inspired Breath of the Wild, that inspired Tears of the Kingdom, that is a turning point for Monolith Soft as a development team, did not even sell 1 million copies. So that's what I'm trying to say. This game needs a second chance, it deserves a second chance, and it needs that re-release, that remaster, that definitive edition more than any other video game. I'm trying to put this into perspective here. Twilight Princess and Wind Waker should be on the Switch. I'm not saying that they should not be on the Switch. They should be available for modern audiences. They should be available for the new Zelda fans. New Zelda fans, yes, many new Zelda fans have started to play older Zelda games after Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, but I really want to again put that into perspective. Twilight Princess has almost hit 10 million copies sold. Wind Waker is at 6.7, whereas Xenoblade X is not even at 1 million. And yeah, I know a lot of these people are the classic Zelda fans who bought the games on day one and wanted to play them and wanted to play them again on the HD versions. But I'm just, again, trying to put that into perspective as a business decision. Yes, Nintendo will want to sell these Zelda games again and get the Switch effect and get those crazy numbers of 10 plus million in all these Zelda games because of the surge in popularity with Tears of the Kingdom. But Xenoblade has also gotten the Switch effect. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is now at about 2.4 million copies sold. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 had the fastest launch of any Xenoblade Chronicles games and could potentially, hopefully, maybe pass Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to become the highest selling Xenoblade Chronicles game. I think it deserves to be, but I also think Xenoblade Chronicles X deserves the Switch effect. And not only because it deserves to be 1 million copies sold, but there's a lot of changes that they could make in Xenoblade Chronicles X. They can improve the menus, they can improve the font, they can improve the tutorials, they can revamp the online play, just to name a few things. Because a lot of what Xenoblade Chronicles X is tied to the gamepad. I think the gamepad completes that game, and emulating it on a emulator like Cemu kind of takes away from that whole gamepad and screen integration. I feel like this is a good opportunity for them to create a definitive edition where the user experience, the user interface, the legibility of the font, and all this stuff is just better provided to the player, if that makes sense. I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer here, but I'm sorry to say this once again. Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD already happened. They already got the remaster. And Twilight Princess has been on 3 different Nintendo consoles. It's been on the GameCube, it's been on the Wii, it's been on the Wii U. Yes, the Wii was a success. The Wii was a very big success. The GameCube, maybe not so much. The Wii U was a failure, but that's 3 different consoles. Wind Waker as well. GameCube, Wii U. Probably not the best consoles to be on, but it's been on 2 different consoles. Xenoblade Chronicles X is stuck on the Wii U. The Wii U is dead. The Wii U is not being sold anymore. The Wii U died. It was probably kind of dead on arrival. 13 million total units sold. And one more thing about the Wii U is the eShop is gone. The eShop is dead. The eShop is probably never going to ever come back. So legally, there is no way to play Xenoblade Chronicles X as a new copy. If you do not buy it on the Wii U, if you do not buy a physical copy on the Wii U, if you do not get a physical disc copy, there is no way to get it unless you buy a used copy. God knows how expensive those are now. I was lucky in 2021, after really getting into the Xenoblade series, I was lucky enough to snag a used copy for like 25 bucks. Thank God I was able to. And I'm still enjoying the game to this day, but I want to kind of remind people that Xenoblade Chronicles X needs that revival, and it did not really succeed. It is a very big fan favorite game amongst the community, amongst the cult classic Wii U fan base, but the game needs a second chance. It needs a remaster, re-release, remake, definitive edition, whatever, on the Nintendo Switch or on the Nintendo Switch 2, preferably the Nintendo Switch. And I say preferably the Nintendo Switch because it has the install base. Switch is upwards of 130 million units sold. Imagine putting a Xenoblade game that many Xenoblade fans, many RPG fans want on the Switch and getting that Switch JRPG numbers. because I keep saying that Twilight Princess 9 million units or Wind Waker 6 million units, that's good, right? Well, for JRPGs, the 10 million or the 6 million units sold is an absolute dream come true, because most JRPGs do not sell that high, unless maybe you are a Persona 5 or Dragon Quest XI, but even games like Fire Emblem Three Houses didn't sell like Zelda numbers. Xenoblade doesn't sell Zelda numbers, but 840,000 units isn't even on the level of your average Xenoblade game on the Switch. So having that game on the regular Nintendo Switch, or having it as kind of like a cross-platform game so people can choose which version they want to play on, it will open it up to such a wide audience, and people will get to experience this phenomenal open world glorious adventure. You're stuck on a different planet and you are just doing some awesome crazy things in this game. I don't want to spoil too much, I don't want to give away too much, but if you want to know more about Xenoblade Chronicles X, I'm thinking of streaming the game on my channel. You see, my birthday is coming up. It is on September 7th, and I do want to stream that game around that time. Maybe not on the exact day of the 7th, but as a birthday stream, I do want to celebrate by playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, because it's a game that I have not yet completed, and it is a fantastic game and probably the best game on the Wii U. And I want to close off by saying one thing. Mr. Takahashi, Tetsuya Takahashi, the Monolith Soft man, was saying in an interview previously that the problem with porting Xenoblade Chronicles X isn't the fact that they don't really want to do it, but it was initially a money problem. It's going to be a very expensive port, it's going to be a very expensive remaster. Guess what? I think that interview was around 5 or so years ago. Guess what? Monolith Soft has more employees, it has a bigger team, it has more talent, and guess what? It has one thing that Mr. Takahashi needed, and that is money. Monolith Soft is, I wouldn't say swimming in cash, but they're a much more capable development team than they were 5 years ago, with the boost in sales of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Torn of the Golden Country as well, and of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Future Redeemed, and how could I forget, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So these games, again, they aren't selling Zelda numbers, and they will never sell Zelda numbers. Xenoblade has a very big barrier of entry, which Zelda games do not, but I think this game should release on the Switch, or the Switch 2, or both systems, get that Switch effect, even something like 2 million, or 1.5 million for Xenoblade Chronicles X would be a dream come true. I just think this game gets a remaster, and it really, truly, most definitely needs a second chance. Like, that is my big thing. It just needs a second chance. Xenoblade Chronicles X was never a bad game. It's a fantastic game. And some of my friends, like the friend who introduced me to the Xenoblade Chronicles series, and another friend I want to give a shout out to, Vengeful Magus on Twitter. These guys love Xenoblade Chronicles X, and some of them consider it to be the best in the series. Think about that. All the people who love Xenoblade Chronicles 2, all the people who love Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Think about a Xenoblade Chronicles game that has gameplay that is arguably better than those two games? How could you not want that on the Switch? And again, I'm not saying I don't want Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, but I'm giving a little bit of a perspective here that I think that when it comes to prioritizing some remasters, remakes, and all that, Xenoblade needs it. Xenoblade Chronicles X needs it, whereas Twilight Princess and Wind Waker can just be done and released and put on the eShop whenever. I don't think those are really that much of a priority compared to Xenoblade X. Xenoblade X needs that second chance, and I really hope Nintendo and Monolith Soft really listen to us fans and the people who want this game on the Switch and give us that second chance of Xenoblade Chronicles X. So what do you guys think in the comments below? Are you eager for any of these remasters and re-releases? Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, are you on board with those? Xenoblade Chronicles X, are you on board with that? Have you played Xenoblade Chronicles X? Because I'm very curious. Most of you guys, I'm assuming, maybe have not, other than like the really diehard Xenoblade fans. but let me know in the comments below. I really hope I didn't ruffle any feathers with this video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe for more content like this. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day, and go play some great games today, like a Legend of Zelda game or a Xenoblade Chronicles game. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquick. Thank you so much for watching that video, and if you enjoyed it, check out these two videos on the left, and if you aren't subscribed, why not hit that subscribe button on the way out? I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, and see you later.